forgot to unmute myself. All right, everyone, welcome to Diversity Saves Community Showcase, where we feature projects you definitely need to check out. And yes, I am still working on that tagline. If you're tuning in for the first time, Diversity Saves is a 501c3 nonprofit organization made up of passionate TTRPG creators, actors, and fans from marginalized communities who wanted to create a means to amplify voices not only in the community, but in the works we consume across the industry. You can always learn more and see what we're up to at diversitysaves.org. Before I introduce our guests today, just a little housekeeping. As you may have seen a few minutes ago, or when you clicked on the stream, we are now Twitch affiliates and there are ads. While Twitch ads may feel a little disruptive, ad revenue from Twitch, as well as subscriptions and bits, directly benefit our grant giving program. Subscribing to the channel will remove ads and directly donate to our programs, but we understand that is not accessible for everyone. I'm attempting to get them lined up with the breaks, so let's hope those transitions go smoother than my autistic ass reading this script. And if they don't, you can blame me because my therapist can handle it. Anyway, this week we're featuring Voices in the Wood, a series by Tales Yet Told. Remember, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat and we'll make sure they get answered. But now, let's meet these fantastic people who have been sitting here so politely while I read that craziness. We always start off with an icebreaker question, and the icebreaker question that we have this week is actually drawn from Voices in the Wood episode 2, where a caller asked, "What is your favorite animal?" So, to kick it off, I'm Nekola. I go by Nekola the Druid on all the social places. I'm the director of programming for Diversity Saves, and my favorite animal is the tree kangaroo. Because, of course, somebody who has the Druid in their name would pick a weird animal. I just love them so much. They have such long tails. They're so cute. Anyways, let us start with the host with the most, the lover of buttered toast.
That's basically right. Yeah.
I thought I got it close.
Kendrick. Hey, everybody. My name is Kendrick or Kendo, whichever you prefer. I use any all pronouns, and I am the host and creator of Tales Yet Told, and I also play the character of Lil Harry, the host of the in fiction radio show 2048 AM Voices in the Wood. My favorite animal is probably ravens. I love a corvid. They're big birds. They're smart birds. And they'll take the world after we're gone. So, and you know what? I'm happy for them to do so. I guess I can pass it off to Oleander.
Muted myself again.
That was a bad one.
Hi, I'm Oleander. I use they, them pronouns, and my favorite animal is cats.
What's your favorite
alert.
cat? What's your favorite cat?
What is your favorite cat?
I do. If I see a black cat, I love black cats. Black cats need more love. That said, I also have cat allergies, so I would probably need
Tragic.
I probably need to have like a hairless cat if I ever got a cat, or just deal with it.
Since we're in my niche special interest, did you know that there is a cat food that is designed for people who have cat allergies, because the allergy is with the dander, and so the cat food is made from certain egg, like chicken egg, because if the chicken is fed a certain protein, not meat protein, but like a protein, it breaks it down so that the cat itself becomes less allergenic.
What?
That's interesting.
Now, because it is specialized for people with disabilities, it is more expensive, but it exists. I know too much about this.
You want to just change my life a little bit.
Interesting.
Yes, well, I think Purina makes one, and I know they make some scientific ones. But yes, I just totally threw us off rails with my rant. Keep going, Oleander.
But yeah, I do love cats, as you can see from the cat ears on my headphones. I got detachable ones so I could put them on multiple different headphones. Anyway, I played Delroy, our I think second caller in this third episode.
Yeah,
second caller.
All right. Now that I'm not muted this time, next let's do B.
Hi, I am B. My favorite animal changes a lot, but right now I love a shoebill stork. They're gigantic and like 5 feet tall, wingspan, I think like 8 or 9 feet. They've got heads that seem physically impossible proportionate to their bodies, and they make terrifying sounds, but are actually supposedly very sweet with people, or can be. So that's my favorite animal these days. And I play Frankie, which was the first caller on episode 3.
That broke my heart. That is
I'm
such
sorry.
a unique. That is such a unique animal, and actually really fits in with kind of like the horror theme here because they look quite terrifying, but they're so
They are
cool.
very terrifying. Yeah.
So cool. Anyways. All right.
Isn't that the kind of... Sorry, no, never
Last
mind.
but definitely not least, Nada.
Hello, everyone. I also go by Amir interchangeably. You can call me Nada or Amir or. And I played Jenna, the third caller of the show. I would say I'm a huge dog person. For anyone who knows me, that I need to think in the scope of that. My favorite animal is probably the pit bull right now, the beloved pit bull.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Bald.
Worldwide.
Mr. Bald.
That's so funny. As you actively have 2 owls within the frame of your cat, or at least we can see. I don't know if everyone else can see.
Fictional owls are my lifeblood. This is true. But I can't own any, unfortunately. Thus, nor would it be, I guess, like feasible to domesticate an owl, I think, for many people. So
Do you know how long owl legs are?
it's deceptively long. If you ever seen an owl,
Have y'all seen an owl without feathers? Looks like a little creature.
Oh no.
They're
yeah.
fascinating and super cute. And I have been seeing in chat that I'm quiet, and I don't know why. And I've been working on it and trying to make adjustments.
Potentially, your audio is coming from a different mic than the one that you're using.
Your audio source.
Local mic. Yeah. I think I only have one. Unless it is.
Yeah.
Was that better?
Uh,
I'll play with it as we go. Because I don't want to. Tech goblins are going to get us, and that's okay. But let's get right into it because I'm so obsessed. Anyways, first, before I get ahead of myself, Voices in the Wood was a series on the Tales Yet Told channel. So, Kendo, if you don't mind, could you give us a little elevator pitch about what Tales Yet Told is?
Yeah, I can definitely. I'll definitely try. I have such a hard time describing what Tales Yet Told is, partially because Tales Yet Told is an actual play show where I just do whatever I want to do, and that's what ends up on there. But I think the main kind of through line that I've found over the course of making things for it is that Tales Yet Told is a actual play channel where we tell stories or focus primarily on stories that exist at the intersection between queerness and horror. And queerness I use in the slightly broader definition of the existing in a world that is not built for you and having to create space for yourself within it, which includes obviously the various queer sexual and gender identities, as well as some more political identities that are forced into those spaces because of vaguely waving at society. But we try to tell stories like that, partially because it's what's most interesting to me as a queer person living in the world. But also because we like engaging with a bunch of different TTRPGs of various genres and then kind of making them horrifying. Because we like playing games with each other and we like telling stories with each other. And Tales Yet Told is a place where I gather some of the people that mean the most to me and I tell stories that we care about. And they're horrifying, intimate, and a lot of fun to make and do. So that's Tales Yet Told in like as best as I can sell it. It's probably better sold listening to it than listening to me talk about it because I'm never good at it.
You're muted.
You're muted. So sorry.
Y'all, we are gonna get this right. But it may just not be today. So, Voices in the Wood is pretty much unlike any show I've ever seen, and I'm become so obsessed. When Kendo and I first met to talk about doing the community showcase, this was the first thing because you mentioned it hasn't been talked about a lot. So, and everybody needs to listen to it. It's only 6-ish episodes. There's a short little 4.5 in there. And I wanted to also say that during the screening last night, Quinn, I hope it was Quinn, I didn't write it down, called it an actual play audio drama impeccably curated radio show. So I'm going to take it all the way back to the beginning. And let's talk about where this idea came from and the system that you're using, Void 1680 AM by Bannerless Games. Which came first, the idea or the game? And
The
how
game.
did it start?
It was definitely the game. I had the idea for Voices. The first time I saw Void 1680 AM, it was on Twitter. Ken Lowry of Bannerless Games had like just posted about it. I think it had either just come out or it was like about to come out, and I read the concept of it, and I was like, "Oh, this fucks. This is so cool. I love this idea of." I grew up listening to a lot of NPR and a lot of radio, driving back and forth from like school and such, and so like it was very like it was very much a nostalgic feeling that it was drawing out of me. And the Sublime in Sublime County, the setting, which we started in our first series of Strangers in the Wood, is very much a setting that is engaging with what nostalgia is, and also the ways in which nostalgia is weaponized, both for capitalism and for fascism. And so I was like, oh, this thing is drawing this particular emotion out of me. This is exactly the kind of thing. Originally the show wasn't actually going to be set in the Sublime, though. It was going to be for our sci-fi live stream series called Prayers in the Static, because we already had a radio DJ character that was like the meta narrative of that series. And I was like, yeah, you know what, this bam, radio DJ. I was basically going to do the exact same thing we did for this, but for a different setting. But for various reasons, I ended up deciding on, okay, actually, let's do this in the Sublime. And so it was very much, I saw the game first, and then I knew that I wanted to make a thing with it. And Voices in the Wood is what came out of that. It was, yeah, it was. And I think almost like immediately, because Void 1680 AM is a solo game, and I guess I just hate playing games by myself, because my first thought was like, I want to get my friends to play this with me as well. It would be more fun as a performance playing back and forth with other people, and also it would give people a chance to create characters in this world that I built, and it would give people chances to add characterization and explore different perspectives that I would never be able to conceive of within this world that I made, right? Limited by my own perspective. So I was really looking for a way to build upon this setting that I was hoping to come back to for more seasons and more shows. And I wanted to give more people a chance to like engage with that world, either through the making of characters or the listening to the show. And so it just made sense to me for it to be like, oh, I'm going to need multiple people. I want to have all these people tell the story with me. So hell yeah, let's do this. And then I reached out and I DM'd a bunch of people I knew, and I was like, hey, I like you and I want to be in a thing with you. Here's the idea. Do you want to be in this radio show? Um, and not a single person told me no. Every single person was like yes. So, including these three chuckleheads. So I guess my pitch was good. I don't know. What did you all think of my pitch when I came to you with it?
Well, I already was a listener of Strangers in the Wood, so I was excited. I was like, I can get my grubby little fingers on this world in one little character. Hell yeah.
I was so excited because I had never heard a pitch or premise for an actual play or even an audio drama that had so many moving parts and so much diegetic music. Like diegetic music in an actual play is something I could like gobble up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this had a lot of it. And I got to like choose a song to use for it. So yeah, I was tickled.
I was pretty keen on it because I was also a part-time listener at the time. I had gotten through like the first third of the first season by the time the pitch happened, and most like guest opportunities I think require for me a little bit of buy-in to the world or like a buy-in with the cast, and I didn't know the cast, so like hearing that it would be instead like a more guest-centered experience probably roped me in addition to like the radio premise, because I'm also just separately a big enjoyer of discovering new music. So I did actually discover music through this process that I still keep in rotation, which is really cool.
Real quick, Amir, your captions aren't working, so if you could refresh them,
Aye.
Thank you. Oh, I had so many spin-off questions that came from that. Firstly, I have not listened to a ton of the other series because, and I talked over this with Kendo. I'm not horror takes me a moment. So a question that I had and that I think Oleander answered is which other series include the Sublime? And it sounds like Strangers in the Wood includes it. Are any of your other little series set in that? Because it's such a fascinating concept.
Yes. So Strangers in the Wood was the first season. Like I said, we were playing Babes in the Wood first edition, which is a game I don't know if you can find on the internet anymore. And it was like the building blocks of like what ends up becoming like the Sublime, and like a lot of the emergent powered by the apocalypse storytelling helped mold a lot of what the world ended up becoming. And I think Voices in the Wood then becomes like my next evolution of like, okay, we have the pieces set, we have this world set, let's look at this from like a more critical angle and go, okay, if these things are true, then what does the world look like what is the day-to-day life, what do the people have to live with? And I think Voices in the Wood is the first peek into that. And then our current series, which is like a bi-monthly anthology series called Our Lives in the Wood, expands basically upon Voices in the Wood in that each one is a one shot with a different TTRPG that is just like focused on the experiences of people living their lives in the Sublime and the horror of that. And so those are the three right now. We're currently working on season 2 of Strangers in the Wood, and I also have just like a lot of small. I have so many ideas for stories to do within the Sublime. So there is definitely bound to be more.
I love that. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are 17 cast members that you had involved in this show.
Yes, there are 16 and me. There were 4 for each episode. So episode 3 had these 3, and then Joe. Episode 1 had Darby, Gwen. Oh no. Oh
You're not
god.
required to list them all. I thought about listing
So
them all.
fair. So fair.
Because there are some faces that are familiar to the Diversity Save channel. We had Joe, who is also in the chat. Hi. On one of our other
Hi,
community
Joe.
showcases with Taino Tales.
Mhm.
Kelly has been on our fundraisers before. So we kind of already dipped into how you went about finding them, but can you guys talk a little bit about the process of creating these characters? Blah, blah. I just forgot how to read. For the actors, what was it like, and where did you draw your inspiration from? Kendo, what about you, the character of Harry Hill? I also want to know if that name was intentional, because I figured out his last name was Hill last night. Anyways, but yeah,
Mhm.
and I know some of the actors played multiple characters. I want to dig into that a little bit.
Yeah. I guess I can talk about what it was like for me giving it to all of you, and then you all can say what that experience was like. But basically, I made a Google form for everyone. I made like basically like yeah, I made a Google form that broke down what the Sublime was on like its most base level. Um, Context for what their characters would know about the world and living in it, and then like also like, hey, what is your character's role? What animal would they turn into even if they aren't actively cursed? Just to start getting them like thinking about like what is it like to live in this world. And then there was also some like biographical information that was necessary for me to put them into the game, because the game of Void 1680 AM, whenever you're picking callers, you're pulling from a deck of cards, and depending on whatever suit and like card number it is, determines their age and their demeanor. And so I basically had everyone tell me what is your character's age, demeanor, so that I could then tie them to cards. So then when I was in my pre-production process making the outline for each episode, I was playing the game, and that's what decided who was in what episode and also what songs I ended up choosing. Um, and so I needed information from them so that I could then play the game, which then, made it everything that it was.
That's a really cool idea.
But I'm interested in what it was like for you all. Oh, and also I had each person pitch me 3 characters, and I choose one of those 3 characters that ended up being in the thing.
For me, I ended up being in like, I don't remember how long you had the forms out.
I think it was like a month, maybe.
I think I was in like the last week of them, where I think you had like sent a message somewhere, and you're like, I need more people to play like a mellow older adult, and I'm like, I don't get to play mellow older characters very often, and so I went in and began looking through the document, seeing what there was, and I came up with Delroy. And I think I didn't follow the instructions, and I only made Delroy.
And it was perfect.
And I was like, well, this is what Kendo's getting. If Kendo doesn't want Delroy, Kendo can pick someone else. And so I knew Delroy was going to talk in third person. So if you were to have read Delroy's document, all of it only referred to Delroy as Delroy. I never referred to Delroy with any pronouns other than the proper noun that is their name. So Delroy is Delroy. And I wanted to play a character that felt offbeat and isolated, mostly because that's how I was feeling at the time. In what was this, summer of last year?
Yeah, April 2024.
Yeah. So spring of last year, I would have been maybe 6 or so months out of having dropped out of college, and I was back at home. And I went to college out of state, so it's not like I went home and like, oh, I can still see my friends from college. It's like I'm isolated and I'm working a corporate photo color correction job. And I've been living in the Sublime for months because that's where I was listening to Voices in the Wood. And it was Strangers in the Wood. And I was just like, I want to play a character that feels like an offbeat adult that just lives in this world, who's a little bit off center because of the weird strain from the isolation. Where I play a lot of characters that are walking existential crises as well. And I remember for the animal they would be, I wrote owl. And so I could subtly jab at it with the, oh, why is Delroy growing feathers and who's. And it was really fun to get to do, and mostly just be a kind adult who's a fan of the show, who wants to voice their support, but is also quietly going through an existential crisis.
I think I can go next because I do remember like my 3 character concepts that I normally I don't feel like my improvisational skills are the best when it comes to jumping into a world. So like I made the decision then to restart my listen of voices uh Strangers in the Woods season 1, and that is important to the recording process actually, because then I decided like, okay, like this is about these kids. I can make a character that like has like a strong relationship to kids. My first option was a teenage girl whose parents returned. So she has lost them, but she has like an investigative journalist's spirit, and it is actually her role. So like she would be coming in hot, was my first idea. And the second one that I had in mind is like an adult janitor, basically. If I had listened through the show more, it would have been in relation to the school that all the kids go to, that maybe they had like a sort of relationship with the hall monitor that might be negative, but it's basically like the hall monitor is very like domineering and aggressive, but also subservient in a way that I think it would have been fun to explore a little more before the events of the show. And my third concept, I just put in, it was a tree, because I'm like, okay, the age, because the age section, which I feel like no one would really elaborate on, it said age ambiguous, and I was like, okay, what does that refer to at all, especially when we're talking about people in this like setting that draws a lot from mid 80s Americana, where like most of these people are going to sound like they're adults or kids or old. So I figured if Kendo was talking at the time like maybe needing more older characters because a lot of adult characters were being pitched to them. I was like, okay, so no one's going to really do an ambiguously aged character, was my thought. So I just put in the weird suggestion, thinking it was unlikely that that would actually pan out. And then Kendo messages me before accepting, being like, hey, actually, there is a way that this character could tie into the later plot of season 1, basically, because there is this concept of a tree that is plot relevant to the story. That I think we could explore. And I was like, okay, sure. And then I made it my goal, actually, because I discovered right before recording episode 3 that I would be in episode 5 as well, that I would listen to the whole season. So 27 episodes between those 2 weeks to see what would develop. So yeah, that would like explain the mundane sort of questionings and the oddities that come with like being time displaced in a sense in episode 3, and then Kendo's decision to make a 4.5 that directly calls back to the events of the finale of season 1, in which I'm realizing right before that time, like, great, cool, like this is like a pre-written destiny now for my character, which I won't directly spoil yet because I feel like I could have given a warning because that showcase was just for episode 3. But it did allow me to think not strictly in terms of plurality, because I like the idea of thinking about playing with multiple organisms, and then also like an ultimate play on the phrase voices in the woods, because of all the voices in the tree that would eventually like emerge, which I just thought was really funny. In fact, I might have like laughed during the episode 5 recording as I was saying it a few times. But yeah, all of those things basically came from me studying the show. I think I wouldn't have done anything nearly as good without that sort of insight.
That is so cool. I really enjoyed hearing about the process of you two picking and establishing your characters and their backgrounds. I'm so surprised that the tree came first before the incorporation of the tree into the story. That blew my mind a bit. I gotta recover.
I mean, me too.
It was
That's so cool. I don't remember all 3 of the characters I pitched. I think there was a kid who was a delivery boy who liked
Small Paul.
Small Paul.
I'm actively looking at it right now. Yes, there's
Yeah.
Small
Small
Paul,
Paul.
Dear
Small
Bertha, and Francois.
Wait,
were
what
the-
was Bertha?
Dear Bertha was a
Bertha.
cook,
Wow.
never married, never partnered up at all. But what would
Wow.
Dear Bertha want for a spouse and a children when she has so many grateful mouths to
Aw.
feed for at her diner?
Well, Bertha and Paul were never to be. Um, because Francoise, aka Frankie, ended up being what we went with. And I think probably like when I was writing these 3 characters out, that was the one I was like, I think that'd be the most challenging to play, because fundamentally she's somebody who is like buying into what the stranger is serving up. But I was interested in what it would be like to play a character whose face is about to be eaten by leopards. And I mean, I think we've all known people like that who like fundamentally belong to groups that are oppressed, and yet they want to be a leopard or with the leopards. So that was sort of where I came from with Francoise. And then Kendo gave me a gift of this prompt of like a relationship that is on the rocks or ending. And I mean, the most interesting way for a relationship to end, I think, with this type of character would be to have somebody experience anything that she fears so much, and then to be desperate not to experience it herself.
In the episode, it seems like Frankie is starting to experience the curse. But what is that animal? Delroy was going to be turning into an owl, but what about Frankie?
Frankie was going to be a fruit bat.
Obsessed, but also that's really sad because Frankie broke my heart. Oh goodness. Okay. But that is such a real and like relatable thing, to be so in the sauce and want to be a leopard. And I love how you all of you brought out things that were just such deep emotions, with the loneliness and the betrayal, for a better sense of, or without a better word, for the stranger and your partners. I just can't wrap my head around Jenna. Like, everything about Jenna terrifies me and makes me so curious, and I just want to go sit down and I want to go look at and I want to go study the tree. So I know we said like we weren't gonna like try to, and now I'm just gonna have to, if actually during break, I think we're just gonna take a week-long break and I'm gonna go listen to all of Strangers in the Wood, because I have to know about this. The way that was edited to have the voices, additional voices, just a little echo a couple times, was just fantastic. You'll have to stop me or I'm gonna fangirl for the whole rest of the interview. So what was, oh no, where'd my list of questions go? Got so immersed. All right, let's get a little bit into like the nuts and bolts of, with having to record all of this. What was your biggest obstacle about recording each segment, on the actor's end and on the producer's end, of getting all 20 of these characters recorded and all of these little segments? And then next I'm going to ask you about music, so we'll get to the fun stuff then. But my little producer brain wants to know about that process.
Oh boy. I mean, the hardest thing about this was scheduling, right? We had to schedule 16 people. 4 of them we had to schedule twice, because they had to be in episode, because all the episodes 1 through 4 are the 16 cards that are in the deck, that I can use for it. And then the episode 5 is technically using the rules for repeat callers. So it's one person from each episode of the previous episodes calling back after the events have happened to check back in on them and say, "Hey, how are you doing now?" And the answer universally isn't great, but it is. Yeah, the hardest part was scheduling. What actually the wildest thing is, episode 3 was the easiest one to schedule for because it is the only one recorded from beginning to end in one session. Everybody could make it. And I think the episode you can kind of tell a little bit that the vibes of episode 3 are the most consistent from beginning to end, because we're just rolling from one call, listening to the music, right into the next call, so on and so forth. And so it's just, if you can tell it from anyone, it's probably me. I get more emotionally devastated, and by the end of it, I'm just like, "Fuck, dude."
Very much so. It was a lot of heavy topics and characters.
Yeah, and so, but all of the other episodes are recorded in 2 parts: the first 2 calls, and then the second 2 calls. Recorded at like they all had different points in time in which they were recorded, throughout April and May of 2024. And so yeah, that was the hardest part, just making sure that all of the the schedules worked because I didn't group the episodes by whose schedule worked best. I grouped the episodes based on what the game told me who was going to be in each episode. And could I probably have changed it? Maybe, but I love mechanics and I played a game for a reason. So, that's how they were recorded. Fun fact, actually, the first half of episode 1 is the very last thing that's ever recorded. Just because that's how scheduling worked out, and Darby had to go to Korea, and so we had to wait for Darby to get back, and it was the very last thing ever recorded. But it's also like a perfect tone setter for the entire show, I think. And so there's like this really interesting aspect, at least on my part, for I'm figuring out what the larger story of Harry's arc is, and like bits and pieces and not in a line. And so I had like general outline notes of like, this is where I think he kind of is in his story, which is a little hard when I haven't recorded it. If I'm like recording the second half of an episode that I don't know what happens in the first half. But honestly, I think it worked. I think it worked out overall. I don't think you can really tell that I'm trying to piece things together. Because I think the outline helped me. Because each episode was basically episode 1. I was like, okay, we're going in a little mournful. We miss our friend. It turned out a little bit more gay than I was expecting, but hey, that's great. That's wonderful, actually. Episode 2, we're in it. We're riding it. Like, this is the show. Like, this is the everyday of what's going on in the show. And then episode 3, I was like, this is where things have to turn. This is where things have to change. And in my mind, I'm like, this is Jenna. Like, Jenna's going to be the change. And then the beef comes at me with a baseball bat to the back of my head at the start of the episode. And I go, oh, this is going to be a very different thing than what I thought it was, but also it's exactly what we needed. And then Oleander comes right in under B to be like, oh, yeah, okay, boom. This is the story we're going for. We're going to go in. Actually, I'm going to offer a different perspective of what's going on. And then Jenna coming in being like, I'm going to change your entire perspective on what can be real and what can't be real, which just leaves me broken by the end for Joe to help pick up the pieces and go, you know what? It's okay to not like the thing that you come from. And so, like, yes, it's framed in like his relationship with his dad, but like truly, it's like it's okay to not like them. It's okay for things to not be okay. Sometimes that's just what it is, and you're drinking in your car at work, and like life just sucks sometimes. And it's like the perfect middle episode for the show to then eventually go into like, and so every episode it was just like I had a core idea of this is where I think Harry is in the process. And I tried to just kind of let that carry through the various recordings. I think it was pretty easy for you all. I don't you all just have to show up, but tell me if I'm wrong on that.
It felt very immersive, and I also feel like I got kind of the biggest treat because I went first. So I laid down what I laid down, and then I just got to listen to music and watch like an ice cream parlor's flavor of pathos unfold before me as like Delroy and then Jenna and then Officer Park. And by the end of it, it was like, I don't know, I felt like I had watched a stage play that really deeply surprised me, actually.
The hardest part was following B. I came in and I was like, I don't think I'm particularly great at short form improv. Like, I think I struggle with making over like characters where you get the point of them very quickly. And so I was very nervous going into it, and then B started, and I was like, "Oh shit! Oh no! I gotta swing hard! Oh boy!"
But you did so good. Delroy is such a great character.
Delroy was immediately so like sad to me, but also just this like equally full of pathos, but where I came in and I was like, listen, Harry, you were just like, that's okay, this is my lot. And it was so sad.
Sometimes you accept your fate, and it's very sad.
So true.
That's just what it is. I also remember what was so like tonally fitting and in a way like sort of set the rails was that I remember B like put in the chat like 30 minutes before recording is like I'm gonna like lean into what's technically not a line but is like part of the show themes about bigotry, and it, in my mind I'm like, oh, this could be homophobia because I'm thinking about like strangers in the woods. I'm like, all right, let's go. So we were all like, yeah, that's cool, and then we were all listening, we were like this. But at the same time,
When you said
like it was technically, we were all technically prepared, and emotionally not so much, because I was worried about being a little too left field with my concept. And then specifically after Delbury went, I realized like, no, I just have to like keep an element of surprise, because we didn't know about like this recording being the only one that ran like this, but it felt like very good, and we sort of got like I might be using the word diegetic wrong in this instance, but like the feeling of like being in like a queue for a radio show and like calling in, like in the very literal sense, like being able to get everyone at once made it feel like that.
Yeah.
Which really helped kind of cement our voices and such. And yeah, I realized maybe like right after B went as well that like there's going to be a lot of trauma dumping or the opposites being thrown Harry's way. So getting to hold on to that after the episode ended was really cool, because like Harry's obviously so devastated, and that was everyone's fault. Yes, but you know,
Yeah, because also for context, for each of the recordings, we were using Zencaster. So Zencaster has the ability for you to upload audio to be played as you're recording. And so what I had everybody's like music choices already, which again were chosen before we actually played out anything. And so it was just like as a
sack
part of
tap.
it was just a part. Yeah, no, I chose Sack Tap not knowing what B was going to do. And so there's this
that
like
was my favorite song.
wonderfully emergent moments while playing this, like throughout all of the sessions, of us getting through a call and then having to listen to the song and just being emotionally devastated by how much it like aligned with what we just improved, the thing that had been chosen like weeks before. And even in the moments where the songs that I choose that are supposed to be reactions to people, I didn't know what their song was going to be at the time that I chose my song, and I didn't know what they were going to say or do during the call. And so you get moments where we get through B's thing, and like little Harry's upset and frustrated that he just got dunked on by a full-grown adult who's upset about something that's not his fault. And then he's going, you know what, fuck it, I'm playing sack. but like that's not something we could have planned for. I don't know if I would have chosen that song. I mean, I have no idea what song I would have chosen had we had to do that, and me have to stop and go, okay, let me choose what song that I'm playing next, right? It's just like we chose the songs we did, and the story just fucking fit together so wonderfully.
It was
Yeah.
They
It
went
was-
together fantastically. Just with you sitting, some of the lyrics and the themes. I'm obsessed. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's fine. It was really awesome to kind of be, because going back to feeling like diegetic, it's you come to a call, you are literally listening to Kendo do a live radio show, basically, and then occasionally hit a button to unmute someone. And then you're listening to the call, and you're like, you know what? I guess I'm calling next, and waiting to be unmuted. And so it's like you actually do have that feeling of a person listening to the radio, going, oh, you know what? I'm going to call in next and see what we can come up with. And it was absolute blast. And then just getting to sit back. Also, the music choices that you had gathered were great. The group that I picked, I ended up finding out after we did our recording, were actually local to my area. So nightlife lived near me. And so they were like performing near me a few weeks after we recorded.
Did you go see them?
I didn't have time off to go see them. I wish I did.
Imagine
I still
if
want
they played
to.
your song while you
Play New Low.
Oh, that is so cool. And I do want to dive more into the music, but we're going to save that for after the break, because we're going to take a break in a few minutes. But first, on the topic of characters, I'm curious if there are any characters, or what are your favorite characters that are not your own, and why is it Ruth? Justice for Ruth. I loved her so much. Anyways, but yeah, your favorite
That's so
character of
funny.
the other ones that people played.
I have
B,
one.
is yours Ruth?
I mean, I'm contractually obliged to go with Ruth. That's my best friend.
Oh, no way. Oh my gosh. Ruth
Yeah,
is
that's my best friend and
Served
my
up.
creative partner. So I gotta go with Ruth. Is it really silly if I just say everybody else on my episode? Like, no shade to every other episode. I loved every episode, but if I'm gonna like be in a K-pop group with anybody, it's the people on this episode.
Wow. Damn.
And Ruth. I
And
love
Ruth.
you, Jay.
And Ruth! The sponge.
The SpongeBob stopping the bus. The ice cream truck. I know my SpongeBob word.
For me, first off, shout out to the unvoiced wolf pack.
Yeah.
Favorite.
Reggie and Donnie.
They were mentioned occasionally.
People still
but-
speculate if they're real or not.
Or if
The,
they're girls or not.
Ooh, I think I guess I'm biased for this episode, and I guess a repeat call of Jenna absolutely just knock it out of the park. I love really high concept characters, and you do those very well, Amir.
Yeah, maybe the most high concept ever.
Oh, thank
And
you.
that second call,
I will talk
It was
about it
only
most
supposed
likely
to happen
after
to
the
bad
break.
people, wasn't it? Ugh.
Just gentle chastising.
Oh my
Which is so
But
wild.
also, I can't remember the name of the character off the top of my head. Who's the I guess it was Darby. It was Darby's
Sorrel.
character.
Sorrel.
Sorrel.
Yeah. I love. Shout out Darby. I can't. Was the and you said Darby was the last recording?
Yes, Darby was the last recording. And Darby came up with the twist for her thing 10 minutes before our call.
No way.
That's
holy.
crazy.
And it was also another situation where I was like, Darby, this happens in Strangers in the Wood. I know exactly what's going to. Like, this is perfect for it. It's so good.
Was Darby
God.
the chicken farmer?
No,
That was going to be mine. That was going to be my favorite.
Gwen's-
That wasn't in this
Gwen's
group
is a
and
really
not in
good.
this. No, Darby was the teenager.
Oh, the new
The very
girl who had
first
just gotten
call.
introduced. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have
Yes.
gotten their role. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I was unsure about it.
Darby.
Uh,
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
no, please continue.
Darby.
No.
Darby. No,
Darby.
my favorite is Vicky the chicken farmer from outside this group. I feel contractually obligated just because I happen to know like 13 or 14 of these people. So like I am personally invested in a lot of these performances. So I tuned into every episode, obviously. And I think Vicky was like the most keyed into like the kind of animal instincts that or sort of hinted in the actual season 1 of like what these transformations are like. And I think when played it up to deliciously uh, predatory and sexy way. So yeah,
I also
especially
want
the
to.
fox.
Mhm.
You go, you go.
I also want to shout out. I don't remember the character name off the top of my head, but the person who had like almost like a good twin, evil twin
Oh.
backstory going on.
Will's character.
Yeah,
Dawson Mills. Yeah, Dawson Mills.
yeah. I loved that premise as well, and I really enjoyed that segment.
Evil brother is the mayor? That was just a plot twist. I love
Yeah,
it.
which is now a thing that I have. It's real. It's real in the world. So I have to figure out what to do with that. I'm
Uh-oh.
very excited,
I
actually.
love it when players do that. That is just chef's kiss. Figure it out.
Yeah. God, it's hard. It's hard to pick favorites amongst all of my friends.
But
So
it's
I'll
real.
pick one from each episode.
Yes.
And I'm also going to pick the ones that I think do give me the most interesting things to play with in the Sublime now. So for episode 1, I think it's. I mean, it's. Okay. Episode 1, it's Darby. The Sorrel Call is so. It's such a perfect start to the show. And I think a perfect introduction, not just to Sorrel's character, but also to Harry's character, because you get to see his polar opposite of like someone who has the same role, and he gets to describe what he thinks his role is and how he tries to do it. And so, like, then the rest of the episode is seeing that play out, and then seeing how that changes over time. So I think Sorrel's just like an amazing start, and then also getting kidnapped at the end is just like it immediately sets the like, oh, this world's kind of fucked up a little bit, in a way that I think the call like hints at up until that point where it's like, no, it's fucked up. We kidnap 16-year-olds, we throw them in the back of cars, and we tell them who they should be for the rest of their lives. That's the Sublime. Episode 2. Oh, they're all good. I think I might go with Kelly's, because the description of the person turning into a stork, like mid performance, is like it's. And Kelly was also Kelly. Kelly is a long-term Strangers in the Wood fan, and so when I like approached her with it, it was like, "Hey, do you want to be like?" She was chomping at the bit, and like very much like how like Oleander and Netta did, like really tried to hone in on like, we know what this world is. Let's go for it. And so the like just the description of that casual cruelty and horror of everything, and like a very like, this is the way life was, and also it's that person's fault, not God. It's not the stranger's fault, it's her fault, she shouldn't have lied to us. It's like really really hones in on that. um God, episode 3, oh no.
No one's gonna be mad except for Joe, so be
Except for Joe.
careful.
Actually, no. Here's I love everybody's character. I think Officer Park for episode 3.
Okay.
No, genuinely, no, genuinely, because, just like I remember after going through, I remember personally going through the entire recording of episode 3, just getting fucking thrown around for like an hour, being trauma dumped on, being accused, and then being like the derealization of the world and all this stuff, and then just Joe going, "Hey kid, how you doing?" It's a long day, and it was just like the breath of the relief and breath of fresh air for Harry and myself at that moment, to have a very grounding call with someone that Harry knows, who's not a great like. The Sublime tragically sometimes gets into like a slight. Ooh, your audio just your like air conditioning just got really loud for us.
Oh, me?
Yes. Yeah. Tragically, the Sublime like delves a little bit into propaganda in the way that I don't ever apologize for cops being who they are and the jobs that they do, but I do try to acknowledge, at least within the Sublime, some people are cops because God told them to be, or he'd kill them. And that doesn't justify
cop at birth.
It doesn't justify being a cop, but it does complicate the situation of like, how do you then engage with it? And Joe really, I think, hit that home for Officer Park, who is very much a bad person, but also someone who in this moment is doing something good for this person, who's offering them a shoulder to like, hey, just fucking vent to me, kid. You can do what you want. You're basically an adult. I don't say whatever you want. Be who you want to be. Sometimes your dad fucking sucks, and that's okay. You don't have to like him. Which is something Harry really needed at that moment. It sucks that it came from a cop, but sometimes you don't get to choose who gives you the advice that you need to be able to move forward, you know? Episode 4, this is a harder choice because it's between Barnaby and C for me. Granny Maya is a wild character. Mostly I'm saying Granny Maya because C made the wild choice to die at the end of the call, which was crazy to me. This was also the first thing ever recorded for Voices in the Wood. So it was yeah. So I had the Barnaby call and then Granny Maya. So I went into this being like, okay, what is this whole show gonna be? This is going to decide the tone for what the show is. I knew episode 3 I wanted to come in being like, okay, fucked up shit has probably happened the first 3 episodes. This is the episode right before the end. I'm tired. I've been through a lot. I'm doing it now just because I'm trying to still find joy in this thing that I want to be doing. And Barnaby fucking hits it out of the park with being like, hey, I'm a full-grown adult who has my own traumas about not knowing the child in me anymore. How do you feel about that, 18-year-old? And be like, dog, I don't know. I'm not there yet. I don't know what to do. And then C being like, hey, kid, it's okay if you don't know what you're going to do. Just be yourself. Also, I'm going to die. It was just like, okay, this is Voices in the Wood. This is the show we're doing. Fuck yeah. So I'm going to cheat and choose both of them. And then episode 5, it's gotta be Jenna. It's gotta be Jenna. Like Netta said it before, but when like had 3 great pitches for characters, and I saw Jenna and immediately was like, you don't even know. You don't even know. I have a whole character that this is can be, probably is. How do you feel about doing this? And then you went and listened to the rest of the show and fucking knocked it out of the goddamn park. Tied it into the larger narrative, hit the themes I wanted to hit, and especially like you were one of the people I came to for trying to decide what the ending of Voices in the Wood was going to be, because there was no way for me to get around the political nature of what I wanted the future of the Sublime to look like and what I wanted this moment to mean. And I don't think anyone else would have been able to do it like you did and be able to help really hone in on what this moment means, both in the fictional political moment, but in the current political moment in which the episode aired. Is like, it's unbelievable to me how it all came together, and truly the entire cast is the reason why that's even possible. I'm so happy with everyone, and truly astounded, and grateful that you all joined me on this wild ride.
You've created the greatest isekai of the modern era.
The greatest. I mean, technically, the Sublime is an isekai. So
Because Stranger in the Woods.
that's an isekai.
That's a perfect break moment. We need to just let the chat sit with that comment. But yes, I love it all. Anyways, so we're gonna take just a couple minute break to stand up, take care of ourselves, and you're gonna see some ads play during the break. Just got to get that Bezos money to help with our grants. But we will see you all in about 5 to 8 minutes. Bye. There we go. Unmuted everything. Hello, welcome back. We are here today with the cast and creator of Voices in the Wood. And before break, we were talking about characters, but one of the biggest characters in this show is the music. Being a radio show format, it also, I meant to ask, well, no, you answered the question. You were listening to the music as you were recording. So,
Yes.
Let's kind of dive into how you found the music, how you picked it out. I noticed that there were some repeats of bands and such, like Cold Rex and American Television. And in chat last night, you also mentioned that Marcellus was your roommate in college.
Yes.
That is so cool. But yeah, so how music was picked out overall and how you picked it out for your individual characters, because they were great.
Yeah. So yeah, I can give a sense of the process, but I'm also super interested in like why people chose the songs they did. The music, what's the word I'm trying to use? The getting the music portion of it was handled by my co-producer Will Malkus of Live from the Apocalypse, or Live at the Apocalypse. And truly, Voices in the Wood could not exist without him. The choice of adding like music into the show was it's like a core conceit of the show, right? And also the game that avoid 1680. So going into it, I was like, well, we're going to need music, but also if this is going to exist in any way, shape, or form, it's got to be music we could actually use. And I could have gone the route of like just finding a bunch of stock music and so on and so forth. But I also wanted there to be I wanted it to be music that people could listen to. I wanted it to feel like um you were actually listening to a radio show, and the music you would be listening to in it would be music that you could just turn on the radio and potentially find. And so it was very important to me that if this was going to happen, I needed to actually have music that we could play. And very early on, when I was first like concepting the idea, I just made a tweet, I think, where I was like, hey, I'm having thoughts about, doing like a radio show thing. Is there anyone who has any experience like reaching out to bands, so on and so forth? And Will reached out to me. And he used to be a music journalist and had a bunch of connections with all of these bands, primarily in like the Northeast and just like in various other places. He was like, oh yeah, I'd love to like be able, like, this sounds like the TTRPG and the music stuff coming together is like what he loves, and is like he wants to see more stuff like that. So he was like, absolutely, I'll help you make this. And so most of the music was acquired through him reaching out to people like, hey, here's the pitch for the show. If there is any music you want to give us, here's a Google Drive folder, so on and so forth. And most of them were like, oh yeah, no, this sounds cool. Just pull some stuff off of our Bandcamp and use it. And we are like, okay, cool. And then there were a handful that I specifically went and found. Like, I found Marcellus because I was like, hey, you're my friend and you make music. Do you want to be on this thing? And so there was stuff like that, and some other people from the TTRPG space, like Ghostlight G. I'm trying to think if there was anyone else. I think there probably are, but my brain. And so yeah, it was us reaching out to them. We asked each of them for a max of 3 songs. Mostly because I knew for the show, each episode has 12 songs because each block within it has 3. Yeah, there's the first song that I choose. We do the call. It's the song they choose, and then I do a song in response. So each episode has 12 songs. For 5 episodes, it's 60 songs. And so I was like, we're gonna need a lot of music, and I don't know if we're gonna one song from each band. We would need 60 bands or artists to be able to do this. But if we do 3, people can choose some, and then also it creates some cohesiveness because more music will sound similar to each other. And so we got all those songs, and then once I had confirmed the cast, I sent them a Google Drive folder and I said, pick a song for the character that you've been that you've chose. You can choose any of these songs. I tried to let all of the cast choose their music first, so that I would just be picking from whatever was left over. And yeah, they told me what songs they were going to do. I put it in my outline, and then we played it during our thing. And that's it on my end. But I don't really know why people chose the music they did.
But so if they got to choose first, you mean 16 people heard Sack Tap and didn't pick it?
Nobody chose Sack Tap. I had to choose Sack Tap.
It fit perfectly, but that's just very funny to me.
The type of person that would pick Sack Tap, though, it sounds scary.
Whoa, you're calling me scary?
Could you imagine if Delroy was like, Delroy would like you to play Sack Tap?
Anyway, here's Sack Tap.
Anyway, here's Sack. After Frankie's call, this was the song that started it all, Harry. Frankie, I'm feeling really jaded now.
I love Sack Tap.
I am, because I have the links from dropping them in last night, dropping in the link to Sack Tap, and forgot that it's called Sack Tap Part 3. Does that mean there are 2 predecessors?
I haven't been able to find them. If you can find them, please send them to me also.
I think it would be an incredible bit to name it Part 3 and not have a Part 1 and Part 2.
I think that might have been what they did.
I support all of it.
Yes. I really hope there's. I mean, yeah, I'm torn. It would be really funny if there was only Part 3, but also I'd listen to Parts 1 and 2. Yeah.
But yeah, why did you choose your songs?
For me, since I think I waited a good bit because I'm the kind of person who doesn't like going first for when it comes to, like, picking from options. And so I let a couple people like take things first, and then I went through. And at first I was like scanning things based off of names because I'm looking at, like, you made like a spreadsheet with all of them on, and we could like check the box and write our name next to it. And so when I look at spreadsheets, I go, this is a spreadsheet. And so I'm just looking at the names of the songs at first, seeing, okay, what looks and what sounds like it might thematically be interesting for a character who is unsure of what's happening next in their life. And New Low as a title sounded right. And then I was like, okay, let's check out this band Nightlife. And then I'm like, oh, how could I not pick the band that's 3 black people doing soul punk? That sounds sick as hell. And then I looked at the lyrics and I was like, this is great. And I knew it was just going to be something that was like going to more so be like something that resonated with Delroy than necessarily were like, oh, these lyrics perfectly describe Delroy. It's like, oh, this is something that Delroy just heard on the radio that they really liked. But ends up being like, you listen to the lyrics a little bit and you're like, this person is having a time, but they're dancing through it, but they're having a time.
I mean, like, I have 2 answers because I got to pick 2 songs in the end. The first one being Metamorphic was a very I figured like people didn't need to necessarily get into the lyrics because I'm a big proponent of like title first when it comes to what impacts people in consuming art. And I was just like, that's what's happening. I don't need to spell it out anymore. Like, that's what's happening to everybody. And that has happened twice again. So that was for episode 3. And episode 5 like just ended up being something that I wouldn't have had much a chance to do in the actual talking portion, which is like narrowing down on the original relationship of the two characters who turned. So it was just like it was their song in a way. It talked about running away. It's by the Hypno Sisters, but I don't have the title in my head necessarily. But I found it really sweet, even though it was like melancholic, which describes what I wanted to put out there when it came to vibes. So I also picked last, which normally like I can sort of think and make anything work, like if I rationalize hard enough, but I definitely don't regret it because I had to think with these like very like lo-fi and smaller bands, like what sounds speak to me. So I actually just listened to all of the music for a fair amount of time, just to try and enjoy it and to try and be the kind of person that would like request something like that. So yeah.
I'm trying to remember how fast I did it, but it was pretty quick.
Someone else.
Because
You
I
just knew.
was like, I want the one that's for me, and if someone else picks it, I riot. So I think my first process was looking at all of the titles, and I ended up seeing the title Lucid and then going, okay, I'm going to listen to up to the chorus of every single song. And even after I did all that, it was still Lucid. And when I was first going through it, I think the idea was that like this was a song that Frankie heard that she couldn't get out of her head and that was putting these ideas in her head about being jaded. And that she was trying to like warn people off of it almost, but still kind of wanting to hear it again, because I think she's on this course towards, understanding that she does want to be lucid and quote unquote jaded. And then when Lucky came into being, it was the song that like created the fights that, sort of divided them in two and ended up sending Lucky much faster down that path. And also it's such a good song. I really love it.
It's so good. I mean, and for me, the songs that I chose, I was primarily using the prompts from the game. So I had the songs that were left over, and every time it picked, I would pick one, and then I would kind of go based off of the name of the song. I would go and listen to it, and I would go, "Does this give me the emotion that could I see Lil Harry thinking of X prompt based on the song that it gave me? And if so, then I would choose it." And that's ultimately what it came down to, at least for me.
I'm looking through the list at the songs from this episode, and the song that was picked for Officer Park,
Drinks.
No
An inspired
explanation
choice.
needed.
Truly.
Absolutely beautiful.
A truly inspired choice.
Truly. So, you had a lot of music going into this. Are there any tracks or artists that you didn't get to include because you had too many on the list that you really wish you could have included in there? It's been a year. You may not be able to answer that question, but at least I can throw it out there.
I am actively looking at the document that tells me what songs were used and what songs weren't. And I can tell you that every single artist got used. There are some songs. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's like somewhere like 15-ish songs that were not used, but every single person, every single group was used at least once. And that's just because of the number of songs that like only 60 songs could be chosen, and between 28 artists sending 3 in, that's just how the math works, or not even all of them didn't even send us 3. Some of them only sent us 1. So the song that they chose was one that was used, and that was also something I was very conscious of as a person choosing music last. I was like, sometimes I would be like, I'm choosing this song partially because I like it, but also I want to make sure a song from this person gets used, and things of that nature. So there wasn't anyone that didn't get used. Plenty of songs that haven't been used. Um, Honestly enough that I could do a whole other episode and still have some left over if I really wanted to.
Are you saying bonus episode?
I mean, I'm
5.5.
saying maybe eventually there'll be a season 2, but we'll see.
That is very cool. All right. My next question. We've kind of touched in bits, a lot of different bits about it already. But when all of this came together, the editing process, like it seemed that your editor, who I believe his name was Zach, fantastic, did an amazing job.
Yes.
How long did that process take from the time you were done recording to the time you started releasing? And was there anything that had to get left on the cutting room floor that you really wish had been included, or was done but then you decided it didn't fit, kind of thing?
Yeah. So the entire process, we pre-production started in January of 2024. That's when I brought Will on. That's when we started talking about collecting music and all of that stuff. I want to say it's like February and March I started reaching out to people to send them the Google form to start getting characters and stuff in. And by the end of March, I had all of the character, like I had everybody. And then from there it was scheduling. And so we scheduled mostly within April. I think we had to do the first part of episode 1 in May because of Darby was out of the country. So the entire recording process took about a month and some change, and then editing for episodes, I want to say, I mean, it started like almost immediate. Well, actually, I'm sorry, it didn't start almost immediately because we had to wait until every single episode was fully recorded because it was recorded in multiple batches. And so, like, episode 2 was fully recorded by April 15th, which meant that they can start working on it from there. So, yeah, it took like a month. Like, it took about like a month and some change to fully record, and I'd say like about another month and a half to fully edit. And then I specific like there was a point in time where like we're starting to get around the actual like, hey, it's time to release it, and I was doing the math of like, okay, we have 5 episodes, we're doing it weekly, so on and so forth. And then this is where my conversation with Netta came in, of like, I realized my original date would means that the episode would finish, or the series would finish the week before 9/11. And because of the events of episode 5 and because of the finale of Strangers in the Wood and the political nature of it, I asked a lot of people, hey gang, how do we feel about what would happen if we released this episode on 9/11? And through a lot of talks with Netta and some of my friends who are New Yorkers, some of whom have family members who were affected in the aftermath of it. And ultimately we came to the decision of, yes, with the proper messaging and like being like, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're trying to do, this is the intent behind it, and the kind of heart of what we're doing. It not only makes sense, but I felt almost necessary in order to get across what I really wanted to get across about this, of how we build empathy and community even in the wake of devastation, and also in the wake of propaganda and like the way in which such things get politicized by powers that be who want to then use it to their own ends, right? And so a lot of talk went into that, and a lot of decision, and so episodes started coming out like the week after Gen Con, um, and then went all the way up into episode 4.5 is happens September 10th, and then episode 5 happens on September 11th. As far as editing wise, there's nothing that was cut. As far as like, there's no content that was like, hey, we're done with this. This isn't usable. Like basically everything that was recorded is used, including in episode 5. The only part of episode 5 that wasn't finished was there's a part in Netta's call where Jenna is telling us that they're dying, and you can hear all of the voices of all these calls. Some of them are the ones in Voices in the Woods, but there's so many that are just all of these other calls, which were people who called into the show at the number that I gave when it was still functioning. I don't know if it's still a functioning number, but I encourage people to leave voicemails for Lil Harry, and all of those. I don't think any of those got cut either. Every single one of them is used in this kind of magical moment that Harry has with Jenna, as like this coalition of like, these are all of the voices, all of the people of the Sublime in this moment, kind of crying out a little bit for connection. And like, yeah, but everything in Voices, everything that happens got used. Not a single thing got cut, including all of the people who became part of our show because of their engagement with it like that.
That is so awesome. I love that. The player side of this, the actor side, is when you were sort of planning this, but then as you're recording, sometimes things don't always, your plan doesn't always go exactly the same. So is there anything that you, while you were recording or creating the character, that you cut or you transitioned because of the things that were happening around as you were listening to the episode? You can also say no.
I don't think I changed anything. I just remember getting more and more nervous up to the recording date about having a character that spoke entirely in the third person. And I do think, I think there were a few times where I messed up speaking in the third person.
There's a singular thing cut out of all of Voices in the Wood because you only slipped up once.
I only slipped once?
You only slipped up once, and we cut it because I wanted to preserve your, the vision you had. You can actually hear it in the episode because you are talking, and then there's like a brief pause, and you go, Delroy means. It's because you originally say, well, I mean, Delroy means, and you continue on. So we just cut out that one part, so to keep it.
Wow,
it's the only thing in the entire show that's cut.
All of those years of watching wrestlers talk in the third person must have paid off.
You did so good.
I can say that like my intention was to come off as alien and I guess mystical as possible for whatever effect that may have had. I did some voices more so in episode 5, a little bit in episode 3, where I think I asked actually Kendo and Zach to pitch shift them a bit, but otherwise I did them myself, and I was like, oh, but how am I like gonna be if I like ask? But then I remember that Kendo pays their editor, so I'm like, okay, like maybe like, could I have a touch of reverb in the beginning? Because like the final call-in, I wanted it to like, which I didn't maybe verbalize fully. Maybe something that I think about more as an intentional thing of like coming in as someone trying to cobble up a voice that is pleasing to the ear. Like the intention was to be like ultimately pleasing on the ear or soothing, smooth, I guess is the better word. But also having that breakdown in the beginning and the end of those calls was something that like I think I gave them the note to like be weird with it, and then also I didn't expect the middle death announcement to be like so like reverbed and with all of the voices in the mix like that. It really blew my mind. Like I didn't think that was possible, but of course if I knew that sort of thing was on the horizon, I would have asked for it, because it's like, whoa, but also that's the power of a good editor. We gotta shout out to the editors.
Yeah.
What changed on that? Well, I went first, so I don't. Okay, here's something. Here's the thing. I was gonna be Francoise all the way through, and I just came out to like call me Frankie when I was recording.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh wow.
But I think that because I kind of forgot that your character's name was originally Francois, because you do come on immediately like, hey, I'm Frankie.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it really it's I think it was very like disarming a little bit for Harry, right? Because you're like, hey, it's me, Frankie. And I'm like, Frankie, how's it going? And then you immediately like, fuck you, fuck your show, fuck you. You're the reason my boyfriend's gone.
You
And so
caused my divorce.
so you can hear the change of little Harry going, Frankie, how's it going? Hey, little Harry. It was like, okay, hold on. What did I do? So it was so good.
Oh, I love that. All right, I just have 2 more questions, but before that, is there any topic or piece of this that I missed that you wanted to talk about, or little stories or changes? Not changes. Just anything about it before take us into our wrap up?
I have a very small thing that I remember during recording was like really cool. It was that Joe had props.
So the Joe was smoking his cigarette
and drinking
and
like
We could see each other, yeah, during this recording process. I think seeing each other really helped lock in the vibe.
I had never considered using props for an audio only format, and it was so good. Also, it was really fun just to finish listening to somebody's segment, and then to all of us just sit back and on camera just be like listening to music.
Yeah. So good. Yeah, no, because when I asked Joe, are you drinking right now? Is because I'm watching Joe take a flask.
Yeah. Was that audio added in to?
I don't think so. I don't think you can.
I remember hearing the like hollowness of the cup like on the recording. So like I don't know, but I remember hearing
definitely like a
of
glass sound for sure.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if Discord. We looked at each other on Discord, I think, at the time. So I just didn't know if Discord picked it up. We couldn't hear each other on Zencaster. So at that point, I'm sure that audio would have had less noise suppression. So me answering my own question, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't think we added a song to it, but there is like an audible like pause, and I think you can hear like Joe like gulp or something.
Yeah.
Which is then the, are you drinking right now? Yeah, it's 4:00. Oh my god, Joe.
I love Joe.
I love it so much. And as we learned from chat, and I mentioned it during our break, that was totally legal because driving was not outlawed until 1988. And
Yep.
this
Joe
country.
looked it up specifically. Joe looked it up specifically for it.
Committed.
This country.
Love
Oh.
research.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
I think the only little story I have was that the name Delroy came from a home game that Kendo never ended up getting to run, that you almost did like a Western with me and a couple other people back in like
Graves in the Dirt,
closer to when we first met, I think. And I was gonna play a faceless cowboy named Delroy, and so the name just stuck with me. I guess the tone of the pitch that they spoke in also kind of stuck with me. I can't remember if they spoke in third person, if I was gonna have them do the third person speaking back then, but that's at least where the name came from.
Very good. I didn't even know that. That's so funny. Yeah, Graves in the Dirt. Maybe one day it'll happen.
Thrilling prequel to Voices in the
Voice in the Graves in the Dirt.
Blank in the blank.
That's it. Tells you told branding, baby.
You eventually have to do a thing on like dropped on like April Fool's Day called Blank on the Blank now.
Blank in the blank.
Noun in the noun.
Wow.
I think the only story that I have is oh god, my brain immediately blanked on it. Oh god. Fuck.
Blank in the blank.
Oh no. So my story is actually about the premiere of season 5. Not season 5, episode 5.
Yeah.
Which because we did live streamed premieres of it. And this is like, and I tell this story because I think that this gets to the heart of why I like making things, and also like was just like a really powerful moment for me. We were all in our Twitch chat. I think we were in Discord together as well, watching it as it was streaming. And my dad watches my Twitch streams sometime. And he had been there, I think, for all of the previous episodes too, but he hadn't really said anything about it. He was just there. And then mid episode 5, like kind of close towards the end, he gift subbed every person in the audience, and I just started crying. I just started bawling. Because it was like the first time that like my like parents had like engaged with something that I had made in a way that wasn't like, hey, come watch my thing, right? Where like he chose to show up, he chose to watch, and then was like, this is pretty good, little bro, which is what my dad calls me sometimes. And then gift subbed everyone. I was just like, oh my god. Which is like a little ironic because of like Little Harry's like Little Harry. While there are lots of Little Harry that are emblematic of me, his relationship with his dad is not the same as me and mine. Me and my dad, cool. Him and his dad, not as cool. So yeah. Oh, also to answer your question earlier, yes, his last name is Hill. Harrison. He's Harrison Hill Jr.
Okay, but was that intentional? I was literally about to re-bring it up. Was it intentional? Do you know who Harry Hill is?
No.
Are we about to find out something fated?
No.
Please,
Well,
who
okay.
is Harry Hill?
No, I don't know if it's anything he's done recently has aged well. He was a very funny comedian in Britain. And like,
he used to be a host. Oh, whoa, this is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I was
Wow.
like, is this intentional? But also I watch a lot of British stuff. So also had a movie, the Harry Hill movie. That's why I thought it was coincidence or intentional.
Or fate.
Yeah, what,
Emergent.
in the 80s he would have been Lil Harry's age in the 80s. He was born in 64.
Wild.
So he would have been 18 in like 1982.
Wow.
That's
That's
fate.
wild. That's crazy. No, because I named him Lil Harry and Harrison Hill because because his dad was already named from
Uh-huh.
a thing that happened in Strangers in the Wood, and so I already had the name, so I was just like, yeah, Lil Harry. That's wild. That's so interesting.
All right. So, second to
Huh.
last question. What piece of advice would you give to fellow creators that you wish you had at the start of this journey? And that can also go for the actors at the cast when you started uh, in the TTRPG space.
Hmm.
I think when I started in this space, and I'm still kind of working through this, is that I'm a little bit of like, I feel like I think I've mentioned it multiple times through this talk back of like, I don't go first, and I tend to kind of wait for everyone else to get their picks in. And like, even with playing Delroy, it's like, oh, Kendo needs someone old and mellow. I kind of push myself into being like the filler, the cast rounder outer, more so than like coming in for the big swings. But I think one of the great things about this show is how often people come in with the biggest swings. You have people calling in and dying on call, being kidnapped, saying, fuck you, 18-year-old, drinking and driving. And it's really an inspiring work of art that it all came together in such a beautifully cohesive way that really just shows that like living in what you find to be like earnestly, this is what I think would rock. And going in there and nailing it is really such a it's a testament to the old adage of just do the damn thing, you know. And I feel like I have to work through that a lot as someone who, because when I first started acting, I acted in scripted work, and I was a black actor in Appalachia, so I usually was the filler, like supporting cast person. Even if I was doing like, oh, this is the role, that whole play falls apart if this isn't good. But you're only on stage for 15 minutes. And so I've kind of like worked myself into that, even when I first started like posting on TikTok, which I don't really post on anymore, but it's still there. Most of the content's on it gone, but it's still there. My best stuff is still there. But even then, I kind of was like, yeah, I'm not like the person I'm not everyone's favorite D&D TikToker. I'll post a thing occasionally. And I feel like just go out there and do what feels good. That's what art is all about. It's self-expression. Express yourself.
Oh, I really, really like what Oleander just said. Just do it feels very apt. A crucial thing for me in this project and any project that I've done since I've entered the AP space is that I'm gonna be cringe, and that's okay.
Be cringe. Embrace it.
Yeah.
Being cringe and earnest is better than being grounded and not feeling what you're doing.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that on a bumper sticker. Oh my gosh.
True.
And
That was
smoke it.
fantastic.
And smoke.
And smoking. I have two pieces of advice, I guess, for guests in things, and also for creators, I suppose. For people that don't feel like their improv skills are like refined, or they don't have the time because they feel like they're perpetually new to things, is to like just ask producers if they can be led into lore secrets. I think if you don't have time to watch a season's worth of show, I suppose is the caveat, because there's a lot of illumination to be found there, of course. But I find like it best to enjoy myself as a guest when I can like feel the world as it's being lived in, and also like the general tone of the show and where it's going, so that I can see if I'm like adding to it. Like, am I going to be a character that could live in this world after I stop talking necessarily? It's something that I take pride in more so than being really famous or having a lot of connections or being funny. I think like comedic guest spots in high level plays like all great, and I'm not intentionally trying to put anyone down by that, because I obviously don't like I make these connections through my friends who I try to invest in their projects. The thing is, I only have so much time to listen to so much audio in a week and a day, that even if I were to listen to like everyone in the TTRPG space that I consider to be like good craftspeople, it would be like 20 hours a week worth of video, audio, not to mention like backlogs of like dozens of episodes that are all like integral to a show's structure, but it's just so much investment in comparison to other mediums, and things like that. That's advice number one, to ask producers like to help you like get hooks into the world and stuff. And the second one, to jump off of Oleander's points, especially, is to revel in the things you make after they are created. I think it gets really demoralizing for small creators to have like what they can consider to be a lukewarm or a cold sort of reception to the work because of things like social media marketing, and the lifespan of Twitch, as a platform being huge on that. It really just incentivizes like having something new, seeing it once, never seeing it again. And I find that to like be part of the problem in all this buildup of content that we'll never have time to experience, essentially, because there's just so much of it. That applies to all mediums of art, especially as creators are, it's all capitalism's fault. We know this, but like the creation cycle is definitely not conducive to finding joy and permanence in the things that you've made in the past. So like I think I encouraged Kendo to do reruns of season 1, because I was like, that would be like a great way to reminisce or build on season 2, keep everyone up in the timeline and things, because I thought like, well, this show, like these shows will theoretically last forever, and I find it really valuable if like 100 people see it twice, because they found something worth going back to, as opposed to maybe 1,000 people seeing it once. And that's just my perspective.
For me, I mean, truly the best advice that I could give another creator, from a producer's perspective, of someone who makes actual plays, is kind of what Oleander said. Just go for it. I think that there's a lot of times that the people make actual plays the way that they do because they don't imagine a different way they could. We tell a lot of stories that are similar in format because that is the way stories have been told to us. And especially, I think for actual plays, it's very easy to get kind of bogged down in like campaign format or like one-shot format because that's the way that most actual plays are. But in the medium, regardless of if it's video or audio, you have the freedom to kind of do whatever you want. Voices in the Woods sounds the way it does because I had a very clear vision of I want this to sound like a radio show. So every single decision that I made was like, okay, what's going to make this sound the most like a radio show, like you're listening to it? And so having that clarity of vision and just like going for it. It's like, okay, every decision that I've made for Voices in the Wood is out of necessity because it had to be that way in order for it to be like, we had to have music, so we had to go out and find and connect with other artists for there to be music, right? We there had, or I wanted there to be guests because I wanted to interact with people, so I had to go and find all those people. And I've had a lot of people since then tell me like Voices in the Wood feels like so innovative and so like creative and special. And I'm not going to say it's not that, but I'm also going to say is that was not born out of a desire to make something new. It was born out of the desire to make something that I wanted. And that those things just also happen to be aligned with each other. And so take inspiration from the things that you enjoy in your life. I love being in cars and listening to the radio. I love radio shows. I love playing games with my friends, and like I love interacting with them in that intimate one-on-one connection. So that's the reason why Voices in the Wood exists the way that it does, and it's because I knew what I wanted, and because I knew what I enjoyed and what I loved and what I wanted to put into it, that it does sound the way that it does. And so find those things that you enjoy, that you love, the people that you love, the stories that you love, and pull them as close to your art as possible, because then you'll enjoy it. And maybe also you'll end up doing things you wouldn't have normally done for an actual play, because you're pulling on inspirations that are not bound by everything else that you've heard. You can make new things by just mixing up all of the older stuff that you already enjoy. Also, ask people to do stuff with you. It does not have to be a solo. Voices in the Wood does not exist without Will, doesn't exist without my partner Ellis, does not exist without our editor Zach. It doesn't exist without all of our cast. It doesn't exist without all of the music. And all of those things are just, I asked people if they were interested in doing this thing, if they wanted to work on something together, if they wanted to make this this piece of art. And so just ask people. People, and especially, if you're doing it from a place of mutual collaboration and respecting and caring about those people and wanting their input and wanting them to add to it, then that's the beauty of collaboration. That's why we play games with people. That's why we do all these things, because we want to do it with people. And so ask. It's going to be so much easier. You're going to save yourself so much trouble. Every time I tell Ellis Voices in the Wood can exist without them, they roll their eyes, because the main thing that they did was help me talk through the story a little bit, and they did all the scheduling. The scheduling was the hardest part. It was the hardest part. And I don't know if at that point in time I would have been able to get through my executive dysfunction to make that happen. But even having something as simple as someone being able to make a win is good and post it in a thing and look at it later to go, these are the ones that work, help make it possible, right? It's ask the people close to you who want to be making art with you, because you can also do stuff for them. It's just, I don't know, that's how you build community. That's how you make art together. That's how you make cool things together. That's how you get to hang out with your friends.
I love that so much. So this, even today, wouldn't be a thing if our original board members had not asked each other, hey, do you want to just do this because nobody else is doing it? And then the community showcase wouldn't exist if I had not asked the Batty Bards, hey, will you be my guinea pig and do this interview with me, and make sure that this works? And so that is such fantastic. All four of you, such fantastic advice. I hope that people take it to heart, because it was good. Before we do the last wrap up, I have a confession to make, because I was reminded about this, hearing about consuming so much audio and consuming so much content. I watch and listen to a lot of things for this community showcase. I went through the whole first episode of Voices in the Wood without realizing I had not turned off 1.5 speed.
That's so funny to me.
So I then went back and listened to the songs, because I was like, yeah, I mean, the music's cool, but like, make some interesting choices. And then I was like, I went to go switch to the second episode and realized it was still sped up because I listened to things sped up so I can get through it. Not get through it, but just so I can consume as much as possible at work. And I was like, oh. So then you have those lovely playlists. I went back and listened to them and was like, oh. Anyway, a little confession.
That's so funny.
Today has been fantastic. I am so excited that we got to talk to you all and learn more about this amazing project. And now I'm going to have to go back and listen to Strangers in the Wood because I love the Sublime so much that I think I'm going to be able to do this. Our last question, we're going to bless you. Our last question, we're going to work into the outro. So the last question is, what does the future look like? What for Tales Yet Told and for individuals, your individual projects, things that you're guesting on, things you've got coming up. So remind everybody where they can find you, and then talk about what you've got going on, what you've got coming up that we can follow and enjoy. Let's start with Kendo.
Hey everybody. Yeah, you can find all of my stuff. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Kendo Makes Films, and you can find Tales Yet Told everywhere on the internet that matters at Tales Yet Told, and you can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Currently, we are doing our series Our Lives in the Wood, which is an anthology horror series that comes out every other month. There is an episode coming out actually in like 2 weeks now. Where we are playing Dream Investigator, which is a solo game that I then made into a duet game because I hate playing games by myself. Where I had the designer Nathan play his Lynchian dream analysis game, his Lynchian Mad Lib dream analysis game, set within the Sublime. And of course, because of that, I then make it horror and medical malpractice and all sorts of things. Which I'm super excited for people to listen to. It's going to be really weird format-wise and have a lot of cool lore stuff. But you can listen to episodes 1 through 3 already on the feed. If you like lesbians, episode 3, great for you. If you like sitcoms and how sad they technically are, you're going to love episode 2. We're playing Nighthawks. Episode 1, we play The Time We Have. You love zombies? The Sublime can have zombies too. The Sublime has multitudes. It's not, I guess they aren't zombies. It is someone going through the transformation. So yeah. And we have some other stuff coming out in October as well, which I can't quite talk about yet, but I'm very excited. Yeah, go find that everywhere you get your podcast. It's Tales Yet Told.
Beautiful. B.
I am in the next couple of months, alongside my creative partner Jay and our cast members, wrapping up a 96 episode long campaign. So that's going to be coming up soon. And I recently, again, alongside Jay, we released the digital version of our Game of Fools Errand, which kind of was precursor. It comes from the the podcast is the precursor to the game in a very significant way. And so yeah, if you got 96 million hours to do that, then you could catch up in time for the finale.
I want to watch it all tonight.
Yeah, make
Thanks,
sure you're
Lucy.
doing it at 2.5 speed at least.
All right.
Oh, and you can find me everywhere at B Marsollier. Sometimes there's an underscore between B and Marsollier.
Perfect. Oleander.
I don't have any upcoming work that I'm going to be releasing soon. However, you can go find my work on Bad House RPG, where I did Slumber earlier this year, which was an 8-part limited series about people who wake up and find out the whole city's asleep and is swarmed by people's nightmares. And there's a talking golden sheep that is trying to lead them through the dark, and Kendo's there.
That fucking sheep. That twink of a sheep.
So you could find all 8 episodes of that and the talk back for it on Bad House RPG's YouTube channel. Also, Joe is there too. So if you like those two, if you liked Officer Park and Lil Harry, same performers, different universe, and you can find me at Stray Nerd Boy basically everywhere. I guess technically I'm still on. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Tumblr. I'm on TikTok still. I'm technically on Twitter, but typing my name into the search bar will not make me come up. So good luck finding me. And if you have any game systems about prison breaks, send them my way on any of those platforms because I need them for reasons.
I can't offer you prison breaks, but I can offer you some charity streams if you want something to do. We got some charity streams coming up.
Okay.
And the best for last, Amir.
No, why'd you have to do it? It's okay. I'll own it once and never again. Hello and thank you, everyone. Stuff that I have out currently, I have my first published game under +1 EXP called 8th Day of the Week. It's a short solo journaling game about finding the titular 8th Day of the Week by not sleeping for 7 consecutive days and accumulating sleep debt. So it's really fun horror. We love sleep horror over here. Shout out to Oleander for that as well, because they. I mean, it's fun to think about, but they did conceive of that idea like 2 years ago. And as far as safety stuff, it was a bit, but I thought it was good.
Work.
That's true. But ideas are important, and I try to stand by that. As far as AP stuff, you can find me on Bad House in the past and possible future productions. I may make a guest appearance on Tales Yet Told in the future production. Currently out with a 12-part series called Laurie's House under Tender Vicious Studios, which is like in part an actual play with an Ashcan release of the game it's run with under it called The Home We Remember. Which I also helped design, so a lot of involvement from me as well as the whole team there. And the show kind of almost defies description. I don't want to describe it. Every description feels like a spoiler, and we're getting to the most spoiler heavy part of the show. That's so important, but it's about the fourth wall, and it's about memory and remembering things, but it's one of those experimental weird things that I encourage everyone to try at least once, because I don't know, my thoughts on it are evolving at all times, but I love it. And yeah, you can find me at Blue Sky pretty much exclusively at Tall Rowlet, and I should update my other URLs. Yeah, that's it.
Love that. All right. This has been the community showcase of Voices in the Wood. Don't forget that if you are interested in being featured on the community showcase, the application is on our website at diversitysaves.org. One last big thank you to the guests today. This has been so much fun, and I'm going to go finish the episodes because I didn't get through all of them. And now I get to finish them, and I have a whole nother thing to watch. But we will see you next time. Bye.